Hi, and welcome to episode 6 of the Cannabis Matrix podcast. This is Dr. Jakefelice, and I want to talk today about retrograde transmission and what that is and how that makes cannabis effective for seizures. Normally in the nervous system, nerve cells talk to each other only in one direction. So it would kind of be like having a cell phone that you could only speak into and that you couldn't hear the other party on the other line. You could give information to them, but they couldn't get it back to you. That's typically how the nervous system works, is it goes in one direction. So the communication process is unidirectional. But the endocannabinoid system allows feedback to come the other way. So unlike all other known receptor systems, biological information via the endocannabinoid system flows backwards or upstream in contrast to traditional neural pathways, and we call this retrograde transmission. Typically the nerves, you'll see here, this is a nerve cell up top, will send information to the bottom cell, but what the endocannabinoid system does, you can see over here on the right, through anandamide, is it sends it sends information backwards across what we call the neural cleft. And so let's talk about what that means. A seizure is like an electrical storm in the brain. Another way to think about a seizure is you have a bunch of people in a room and everybody starts, it's kind of like a reality TV show, everybody starts yelling and talking at each other. Nobody's listening. So in the nervous system, when there's a seizure event, the nerve cells are literally screaming at each other. And it creates an event that is not only causes the shaking and the tremors, but creates some toxicity known as glutamate toxicity. What the endocannabinoid system does is it allows the cells on the receiving end of that shouting to call a timeout and say to the cells, the nerve cells that are out of control and firing at it, hey, we got to slow down here. Let's take it easy. And you can see, especially in some videos of some seizure patients, how the cannabinoids can very rapidly turn that electrical storm in the brain into a much more calm situation. So, as I mentioned, retrograde transmission, the endocannabinoid cells allows the nerve cells on the receiving end of hyperactive seizure events to call a timeout to other nerve cells. And interestingly, when we give cannabinoids within 4 hours of traumatic brain injury, they limit glutamate toxicity and nerve cell damage. So the glutamate toxicity happens in stroke, and it can happen in seizures as well. The cannabinoids can limit and protect our nervous system against that. Also, as I mentioned, the endocannabinoid system allows the nerves to reduce their overstimulation and control their own input. It would be kind of like, as I mentioned, being in a reality TV show where everybody is screaming at you and all of a sudden you can wave a magic wand that helps everybody calm down and be quiet. Normally, the folks are screaming at you and not listening. The endocannabinoid system allows that communication to go both ways. This also happens with pain signaling, by the way. When a pain signal is very extreme or the pain is overwhelming, the nervous system can use retrograde inhibition to slow down that nerve impulse or to turn the volume of the nerve impulse down when it's coming from the site of an injury, and that reduces the pain signal as it's moving towards the brain. Very helpful. So a huge part of the nervous system is therefore actually involved in the reduction or the limitation of neurotransmission. One way to think about this is that if the nervous system is a car, the endocannabinoid system is like the brakes. It allows the nervous system to put the brakes on when things are going too fast or too crazy. It's been said, physiologically speaking, 70% of the human brain exists to slow down the other 30%. So the braking mechanisms of this neurotransmission are very important And the only real mechanism that we are aware of now that allows this to take place through retrograde transmission is the endocannabinoid system. This can help in what we call dis-inhibition disorders, such as hyperactivity, impulse behaviors, anxiety. These are things where there's overactivity, right? Seizures is an overactivity, pain exacerbation, and many more. So, short talk today. Thank you so much for listening. This is Dr. Jakefelice. Go ahead and click like. Please subscribe. I'd love to see you back, hear you back here at the Cannabis Matrix podcast. And thank you so much for listening. Walk with me as we take a broad-ranging tour of the world of cannabis, from the ancient to the modern, the medical to the recreational, as well as the social, cultural, and political landscapes of this fascinating plant. I am Dr. Jakefelice, and this is the Cannabis Matrix, where cannabis science meets cannabis culture, where recreational meets medical, and where the body's own endocannabinoid system is as much a player as CBD or THC. Welcome.